What up, players? It is WarbossTae up in his mug. Welcome to a showcase video where I'm going to be showing off some Grey Knights that I've painted. These are Space Marines, metal Space Marines in fact, that have been requested to be painted up as Grey Knights. So I did them in a very simple but very effective color scheme of, I think it was lead belcher, and then built up with 3 layers of chainmail and then runefang steel, just adding a little bit more of each color. The reds were done with corn red and then Mephiston red, and then highlighted with Evil Sun scarlet. And the ivory was done with Rakarth flesh. And the blue was done with Sotek green and then highlighted with Lizard, was that Temple Guard blue. And I think it came out really nicely. The robes, I actually used a little bit of Vallejo's Deck Tan because it's a little bit brighter than Rakarth Flesh and it covers a little bit smoother for me. Rakarth Flesh has a tendency, if you're not careful, to clump up. And with Deck Tan, I got some really nice coverage. Very smooth. The writing Fury there on the blade, and I think the other side says Terra, was done with a Micron pen 0.005. And for some of these script work that was done in the white paint, I used Deck Tan. And then you gotta really shade that down because Deck Tan does have a tendency to clump up if you let it sit for too long. So I used a very fine-tipped brush, and you gotta use a steady hand to paint in that script. But the great thing about painting in script work is you can really do whatever you want. You can make the lines as thin and as close together as you want, or space them out, however. And I figured that putting it as close together as possible would make it look more like natural writing to this scale. So that's what I tried to do with the Micron pen, as well as the script work on the white side. Honor there. And oh, for anybody who's using Micron Arts pens, or even painting freehand script on the shoulder pads, what I always thought of doing was just going over something once, writing in the word, and just leaving it like that. Here's a tip from my experience. If you do 2 lines, double line it, it will look even more substantial and better. If you take a look at the Games Workshop versions of Tycho, and you look at his shoulder pad, you'll see they did that. They kind of doubled up the lines of the script, and it makes it look a little bit more substantial. So I kind of took that lesson to heart. I have a Tycho that I painted up that I'm going to show you in a little bit, but the last model I want to show you here for this one is this Captain Sicarius. I'm not sure if this is Sicarius or Tigurius. I painted him up to match the Grey Knights, so a lot of silver with some red spot colors, some black highlighted with Stegodon scale green. I haven't sealed this guy yet, so you might see a little bit of the paint is smudging and chipping off, so I am going to be covering that up. But the skin was a lot of fun to paint too. Bugman's Glow, shaded with Rakelin Flesh Shade, and then highlighted back up by adding in Deck Tan. You could also add Cadian Flesh Tone, Rakarth Flesh, and build them up, but I actually did 4 successive layers of highlighting to give the skin a very natural look. It's just a little bit pale, but and it's not red, but it has some really cool looking shadows there. The eyes were done simply by painting in lines of black and then white. I think I'm gonna have to go back over them. They look like the skin color might have seeped into them, but really when you're looking at a model from a table distance away, you can't really tell if the eyes are done or not. And a lot of times if you try to paint eyes that are too thin or too small or too closely set together, especially if they're sculpted to be in a very hard grimace like Games Workshop's models are wont to do, then it might be hard to find the exact place where you paint those eyeballs. More times than not, I've seen people painting what they thought were eyeballs turning out to be the little bags under their eyes. So yeah, you definitely don't want that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Just because you have models that are supposed to be painted in a certain color scheme, I wanted to make this video to just kind of reinforce the fact that you can do whatever you want in this hobby. And as long as you have a very creative mindset, and if you go the distance and you paint them up, who's to say that these regular Space Marines or Dark Angels with Blood Angel shoulder pads cannot be used as Grey Knights? You just paint them up the way you can to match the rest of your army, and then you just go from there. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this little video. We'll see you in the next one.